Hi everyone. Whether you're watching live or catching the replay, welcome. I'm really excited to share my top 5 picture talk picks. Some of my favorite images that I've used to spark interesting, spontaneous, and rich language and discussion in Japanese classes. So in this session, I'll share 5 images that I love using and walk you through some example questions and give you some ideas on how to personalize the process. Feel free to steal any or all of them. That's what this is all about. So, why it works. So, Picture Talk is one of my all-time favorite low prep CI strategies. So basically, you show one interesting image, and from that, you generate lots of compelling, comprehensible input by asking personalized questions and asking opinions, comparing and contrasting. So you're not testing the students, but rather you're giving them language that's in context, that's easy to understand. And if the picture generates a lot of emotion or discussion, it makes it hard for that language to be forgotten. So it's really effective because it's compelling, and we keep it comprehensible because of the imagery, and it's naturally in context. So you can use it to introduce structures and really target those structures, or you can use it to recycle high frequency phrases. All the while you're keeping the students engaged and curious. So without further ado, number 1 picture talk is pet talks, and this is a fantastic way to really connect in with your students. So basically, the step-by-step flow is that you show the image and ask scaffolded questions, really using the keeping in bounds. And by in bounds, I mean using the word wall there for beginners, and extend as need be to excuse me, to the level that your students are at. But keeping it inbound really helps to keep the communication and conversation flowing, so that the students aren't decoding and trying to work out what is being said or the questions. It's really easy for them to connect in because they can see they've got the prompts there visually and also the word wall. So asking scaffolded questions, and really importantly, the step of circling or repeating key language, and personalizing and extending that as you go, and depending on how the students are connecting with that image. So while you can have some targeted questions and structures in your mind, I found it's best to really go with the students and where their interests are. So it's not possible to have a complete script, but more of a bit of an overview of what you would like to be discussing. And keeping in bounds, as I said, with the word wall really helps the teacher, helps you to keep your language comprehensible, and also helps the students to know, okay, this is the pool of language that we're using, and so they get lots and lots of hits with the language on repeat. So for this one, some target structures could be, and certainly not limited to, has, wants, likes to play, likes to sleep, likes to eat. So again, starting from very, very simple question and answers. Nan desu ka? Dare no petto desu ka? Namae wa nan desu ka? 犬はどこにいますか？誰と一緒にいますか？犬は嬉しいですか？犬は何がありますか？犬は何をしたいですか? And all of the while, I would be pointing and pausing and trying to repeat. So rather than a list of questions, engaging with the students with either an either or question or asking, Sam-san no inu desu ka? Ah, Sam-san no inu janai desu. Sam-san wa inu ga imasu ka? And of course, you can extend that to katte imasu ka? But if we're wanting to keep really comprehensible for beginners, I like to just try and limit myself to the Super 7 on the word wall. So there's lots and lots that you can recycle, and you can also talk about the picture or create a story about a fictitious story about this picture as the prompt to start the story. So you and your students could create, give the dog a name, where they are, what does it want? Does it want the coffee? Does it like coffee? Does it want to drink the coffee? Whose coffee does it want to drink? So lots and lots of repetition of those key targeted structures. So that's the first one. And pet talk could also be where you, as the teacher, share your pet to start with, but then you can ask students to, this is a really fun way too, to take a photo of themselves and their pet, and those that are happy to share can share, and you can create a slideshow of pet talks, and each lesson cycle through and talk about, just not prolonged, but just a quick discussion about whose pet it is and what they like, what they don't like. Do they like sleeping? Do they like eating? Are they naughty? Are they cute? Lots of easy ways to get some adjectives in there. So that's pet talks. Another really valuable picture talk, and my top 5 is culture talks. So this is an example of one that I have done with students. And again, you can pick the target structures that you would like to hit up. So for this one, there are, likes, or is at. So ga arimasu, ga imasu. So otoko noko ga imasu. Onna noko ga imasu ka? So when I make a statement, I always like to try and ask a question then to engage the class. So, and then circling that. Hai, otoko noko ga imasu. Onna noko ga imasen. Otoko noko no namae wa nan desu ka? Guess shimashou. So you can ask them to guess and make up a name. Brian desu ka? Otoko noko no namae wa Brian janai desu. So you can get them to guess and make their suggestions, and then you can decide on, hi, I've got a bit of a brain freeze of a name of a boy. Takeshi, Takeshi-kun desu. Takeshi-kun wa, and with this one, it's very easy if you would like to go into ages, hobbies. It's an easy one to incorporate that sort of language in. And of course, these are all about there's a whole range of these children and what they like, children and their toys series. So this is a nice one. I chose this one because it's a Japanese boy, but you can do also a comparative of other ones as well from other countries. So it can open up a really nice intercultural discussion. And if you're using that series of pictures, you're recycling lots of the same language, getting lots of reps. So that is Culture Talks. Live Talks is one that I think it's a really nice way to ease into a discussion of perhaps some things that are a little bit more sensitive, but still stay in the target language, and a nice way to talk about emotions as well. So for this one, it could be something like, 誰ですか? 男の人ですか? 女の人ですか? 男の人は一人ですか? 友達がいますか? 誰と一緒にいますか? 猫ですか? 猫じゃないですね。何ですか? 犬です。犬は友達ですか? So you can incorporate friends and friendship and things that they need, what we all need. What does he want? And those feeling words of 嬉しいですか? 寂しいですか? お金がありますか? 皆さんはお金がいりますか? いりますか? And then, yes, 寂しい、嬉しい、どこにいますか? 公園にいますか? それとも町にいますか? 家がありますか? 家にいますか? So you can start a conversation then about where they are, what he needs, friendship. Yeah, there's a lot that you can talk about with this one. Again, you can just keep it very superficial and talking about what you can see there in the picture. So, 何ですか? これは何ですか? 缶ですね。どんな缶ですか? 犬の食べ物ですか? そうかもしれません。ブランケッツがありますか? 男の人は何がありますか? 何を持っていますか? So there's lots of things, but I think the success of a picture talk that like this is to make sure that we keep in bounds. So not to say, to keep it simple so that the students can follow on, and we're not talking about, we're not using a huge range of language so that the students can't engage, but keeping within bounds so that the students are with you in this discussion. And the other way of supporting the students with something, with the language that may be a little bit more challenging, is to give that either or questioning. So, 男の人は、寒い、それとも暑いですか？犬は元気ですか？それとも病気？ So that's one way to scaffold the understanding and comprehension there. So on to number 4, and this is what will happen next talks. So there's, I suppose with this one, it's a little bit more of a co-created story or a what if, what could happen. And so with this one in particular, you know, talking about what's there, what they have, what's it doing, what does it want? What does it want to eat? Who wants to eat what? Sizes. And yeah, again, I think the success with the picture talk is incorporating lots of circling and personalized questions and answers. So checking in with the students and asking for their opinion. どう思いますか? What do you think? So, 猫はネズミを食べたいだと思いますか? 何を食べたいですか? What else? Yeah. 何が欲しいですか? What does it want? どこに行きたいですか? うちがありますか? ネズミのうちはどこですか? サムさんのうちにネズミがいますか? フランシス先生のうちに時々ネズミがいます。でも好きじゃないです。Okay, so lots of different ways that you can go with the picture talks. And the last one, 面白い talks. So with something like this, it's again can be a cultural connection to show similarities and differences. With this one, I like this one because, of course, most students like to talk about toilet talk, something that's a little bit different. And so this one, you can show a little comparison, but again, trying to keep in bounds with that language, that you're sticking to the Super 7 as much as possible. So, これは何ですか? どんなバターンですか? たくさんありますね。特別ですか? 特別なトイレですか? Again, lots of adjectives you can use in here. So, 特別、面白い、モダン。これはモダンなおトイレですか? いいえ。So, what else? オーストラリアのおトイレですか? オーストラリアにそのトイレがありますか? ありませんか? このトイレ見たことがありますか? Have you tried it? やったことがありますか? So again, a chance to compare and contrast and to give some preference of whether they would like to. 日本にその取りに行ってみたいですか? So that's my top five. Again, I'll just go through those one more time. So you might like to try pet talks, culture talks, live talks, what happened next talks, and omoshiroi talks. So thank you for joining me tonight and for watching this on record. And if you have any more questions or want to deep dive a little bit more into picture talk, or if you've got a great picture talk to share, I'd love to see it. And I'll just open up to any questions. Tessa-san, konbanwa.
こんばんは。
Have you tried any picture talks in your classes?
Yeah, a little bit. None
Yeah.
of them. I've done a few photos, like of my family and my pets and stuff. Haven't done a lot of, I guess, more like the cat ones, like how do I explain it? Yeah. I haven't had a lot of success with other types of pictures. Mostly I only had success with my kind of, yeah. So I did one a couple of weeks ago introducing family words, and I used my family, and
Yeah.
we talked about who was older and who was younger and this kind of stuff. So, yeah, that always seems to go down well. But when I've tried other pictures, it hasn't been very successful. So, not getting the right kinds of pictures yet.
Yeah, I think that's a very much it's a valid point. I think, some, and also not every picture is going to resonate with every class. That's what I have learned anyway. So it's good to have a little, and I think when I first started, I was trying to milk, or I was trying to get a certain amount of time out of each picture talk. And sometimes, you really do have to read the room and see, okay, there's the energy with this one, or you know what, this one is, it's like pulling teeth. I can't get anything out of this one. So I think it's important to just keep that in mind too, that they're short and sweet, I think have been helpful for me, as far as, unless the students really, really engage with it. And sometimes they can take you down another pathway. But I think the reason why those pictures about you, and you've got that real strong connection, they're your pictures, and you know the content really well. And but sometimes these other ones can be a little bit, you're in the unknown, because it depends on what they give you sometimes. But I think was there perhaps any from, so this one here sounds like you've done some sharing. The culture talk one, this series, I'm not sure whether you were here for when I was going through this one. There's a series of these children and their toys, Children of the World toys.
I actually managed to see, I think, most of the presentation tonight.
Oh, great. Yep. Yeah. So this one I found was a really, really easy one to use the Super 7 for, and always seems to generate some good discussion.
Would these be most of these? I mean, the pet one, I think, I really like the idea of the kids sharing their pets and doing a mini talk, because I'm going to do a pet unit next term and marry it up with Boris, which worked really well last year. So I'm hoping, but I need my year 8 kids to keep their mouths shut about who Boris is. I have to give them the talk.
Yeah. I
was thinking the culture one too, with the 2 toilets and stuff. Because I've been doing housing with my year 9s and 10s.
Yeah.
I thought, I could have I feel like there was missed opportunities there in terms of
Yeah,
comparing and contrasting. But would
yeah.
these be more high level? Because I feel like my year sevens haven't quite gotten there. My year eights probably no.
I would just, it's hard when I give these sort of, little demos because, honestly, you could use the same picture for across, all levels and just pick different targeted language to go with it. So with this one, I would keep, definitely with year sevens and keep it really, really, really simple, and just focus on nan desu ka? Spaceship desu ka? Rocket ship desu ka? Nan desu ka? Toilet desu ne. 特別なトイレですか？テスさんは、テスさんのトイレは同じですか？違いますか？好きですか？ can just,
That
好
seems like
きです。
super simple language to me.
うん。
But I'm like, so would you just write onaji and like chigaimasu? Like those are words my year
Yeah.
sevens wouldn't know yet. Maybe
I
they
would
should.
I would do like a gesture, and then I would, if they don't know it, when that has happened for me, I would just pop up onaji, the same. Onaji desu ka? Onaji? Chigaimasu ka? Different. Onaji? Chigaimasu ka? And then I've got a gesture that goes with it. So the next time I use that one, then I just make sure that I follow up with another onaji use. So, 皆さん、テスさんのトイレは同じですか? And then I'd ask the class and get the class to respond. はい、いいえ。はい、いいえ。テスさんのトイレは同じですか? And then you just, repeat it again. そうですね。テスさんは、テスさんのトイレは同じじゃないです。違います。So I think that's where, that's the beauty of circling. I think it's really, really powerful for introducing, like you're not using a lot of unknown language, but just whatever unknown language, that's when you need to circle and follow up with, lots of
Yeah.
chances for them to hear that word again.
So I know it's impossible because it's different with every class and level, but like, is this sort of a 5-minute kind of
Yeah,
activity?
I,
Yeah.
I would say 5 minutes max, unless they really,
Get into
get into it, and then, you're creating a little story about it, and then it might be more, but I would say 5 minutes. Yeah.
So one of the things I think I'm struggling, and this is that throwback to the kind of traditional way of doing things, which is really hard to get rid of, actually,
Yeah.
is that how am I linking all these things together? Because it used to be the topic link things together. So now I think it's the language. It's just that you're using the same language,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So you can put sort of anything interesting in there, even if it's not necessarily related to
Whatever
the
topic.
other stuff you're doing. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like, because my immediate thought is, oh, look, toilets. We've been doing houses. Well, I don't have to just do it with that class because
No.
I'm
No.
doing a unit on houses. I just do you know what I'm babbling about?
I do totally, Tessa. It's like that, and I think I've said this to you before. I think like with CI, it is a switch so that it's not as clear cut, and like this goes here and this goes here. It's looking at things more holistically, and so the curriculum is your how I see it, the curriculum is your Super 7 and your core, that's your scaffold. And then anything that is helping the students is giving them more rich input with that language, that can be done at any time. It doesn't need to be, oh, this is the housing unit, so therefore I can talk about the toilet in that. Not at all. I think that's the thing, like you were saying, you're holding on to the you know, the traditional way, and I totally get it, because yeah, I have done that too, and you're trying to change your way of thinking of, yeah,
Yeah, I think
how it looks.
William Printer, I think, sort of talked about, what is it, deeply held beliefs or something, you know.
Yeah.
I think he did an episode on it where he talked about how you know, we sort of hold them without realizing, and you know, that the way things were, or how we taught is kind of how we were taught is kind of how we gravitate towards
Yeah.
things, and then changing that is really really hard actually.
Yeah, it is. It's like,
Especially the more tired I get, the more I find myself falling back on you know, things that I used to do and that are easy or but not interesting.
Yeah. And that's, you know, that's totally understandable, because that's, you know, that makes life a little bit easier, because that's what we're used to, and you know, that's our comfort. You know, we're out of our comfort zone when we're trying to do something a little bit more different. So I totally get that. But I think, trying to look at each of these as an opportunity just to provide more input is the key, rather than, you know, all right, trying to make it fit into something. You know, it is looking at it differently, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess, I mean, like, school's very much like that. Okay, here's your planner. Give me a week by week. What words are you going to learn? You know, all this kind of stuff. Yeah, and then so I'm like, well, how much do I try and plan ahead? You know, if I find something, I want to throw that in, and it's just
But I mean, can you sort of plan, you know, loosely enough to say, by the end of, you know, so if you look at we have a 7/8 band here in Vic, so I'm not sure about you.
Yeah, we're the same.
You're the same. So, you know, if you're looking at the curriculum in a 2-year span, and you're saying, okay, at the end of year 8, we want the students to have to be able to not just recognize, but also you know, comprehend and use the Super 7 really easily and spontaneously, and you're providing lots of input, that's your skeleton, your main the Super 7 become your curriculum. Then that's the closest that I could come to trying to, you know, map it out, I suppose, in a curriculum sort of sense, I suppose. Yeah. But yeah, looking at the Super 7 and or the Sweet 16, if you needed to extend it. But yeah, and then you know, you've got exposure in calendar talk to for all of the days of the week, but you're not doing a unit on days of the week and da da da. Like that, it's moving through the whole year. If you know.
I've done that. Well, I am doing the calendar talk with my year 8s, and I'm about to introduce it with my year 7.
Yeah. So yeah, if you're doing it with, like, if you're doing calendar talk with year 7 and you're spending, say, you know, 5 minutes on calendar talk over the course of 2 years, like, you know, like I think we just need to be looking
Longer.
longer. It's the
Yeah.
long game. We can't expect to see, we can expect those high flyers to memorize and be able to recall, lots of vocab for calendars, the days of the week and the dates and whatnot.
Mm.
But if that's for the short term, and then if we're happy then to every 6 months have to do another revision unit on those things, and after the end of each holiday break, we've got to that's the short term planning. But if we are looking more long term, like a 2-year plan of, okay, over the course of 2 years, this is what I want the students to be able to spontaneously and
Yeah.
naturally be able to use. Yeah, we move outside of that compartmentalized learning, and it becomes more, okay, piecemeal but over the course of 2 years. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
that's where I think we should
I
be
think
heading.
at the moment I'm not quite capturing, what is the term that I keep hearing? Not rich input, it's compelling.
Oh, the
Compelling.
compelling. Yeah. Yeah.
Compelling. I think in a way that's the bit I'm struggling with, finding what students
Mm,
find
mm,
compelling,
yeah.
and then how to bring that in, these different things
Mm,
in, you know.
yeah.
Because I've been doing, so I started with my year sevens last year. That's when I started really trying things. So
Yeah.
they're my year eights this year. So they're probably my strongest.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and we do, what is it called? Like weekend talk or whatever you call, so
Yeah. Yep.
because I have them every Monday. So we do, what did you do on the weekend?
Mm,
And they have a little placemat thing with some options, suggestions on it. And
mm.
they all hate it. And I'm like,
Yeah.
there's got to be a better way of doing this, because
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
want it to be interesting, but they all just like, oh, I didn't do anything, or I went
Yeah.
to the mall. There's like
Mm,
50 kids that go to the mall. I'm like,
mm.
I'm
Yeah.
not hitting the mark here,
No.
you
No.
know.
Yeah. So I have I give the kids, like, I had a similar situation there with the nines and tens. It was all becoming a bit more of the same. And so I then said, make it up. And then I made up one. And, it was something like, on the weekend, I went to Rome with Hugh Jackman, and I had, and like, the weirder, the crazier, the better. But I found there was more engagement then when we could just you know make it
Well,
up.
I often say to them, like, it doesn't need to be true. I'm not
Yeah,
checking up on,
yeah,
that.
yeah,
And I've got one kid who responds to that, the
yeah.
class clown. And he's decided his theme is that he will eat something weird
Mm,
every week. So he always goes to the mountains and
mm-hmm.
eats something. So the first week he goes to the mountains and he eats cats. And then he was like, I go to the mountains and I eat cats and dogs. And then he went to the mountains and he ate one of his friends, and
Mm,
and that captures the class. And I'm like,
yeah,
yes. And then the
yeah,
next person goes to the mall,
yeah, yeah.
buys sushi. I'm like, oh, we need more.
And then, like, it's when they say that, and
Yeah.
could you follow up then with the question, you went to the mall, but did you eat a cat at the, and so you're tying in that little, funny, um the
Like, yeah.
boys' little thing with following up with that. Really? You went to the mall and you didn't eat a cat? You know,
Mm,
a Honda?
yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And then I would then ask say to the class, um, who ate the cat? I'd ask the class, uh, where did he eat the cat? Oh, he ate it in the mountains. Did he eat it in the mall? No. Did, the other guy, did he go to the mountains? No, he didn't go to the mountains. Where did he go? He went to the mall. But did he eat a cat? Then that cat thing would become the funny thing that I would just keep recycling and say, and then I would just absolutely ham it up and just really, so that it became so ridiculous that,
Yeah.
that would be one way that I think might just just sort of takes the takes the attention off them, and
Yeah.
you're running on the other little joke, and you're just you know you're milking it, you're milking
Yeah.
it. Yeah. um
Okay. Yeah. Well, see, I
I
think
I try that.
my biggest failing is I'm just rubbish at circling. I just run out of questions
Mm,
instantly. I just stand there and I'm like,
mm,
oh, I've already forgotten what I've asked and I can't remember
yeah,
what,
yeah,
and then I can feel myself freeze and then I'm like, okay, we'll
yeah, I
just
know.
go on with English or something.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I know it sounds really lame, but it is just practicing and still using it. I know exactly what you're saying, Tessa, like so
Mm.
much. I have had that experience too, especially starting out. And it's the circling it looks so easy on paper, but it's actually in the moment, it's not. It becomes that way, it becomes more, you don't have to think as hard about trying to, how to recycle that. And it really does look so easy on paper, but it's
Mm.
just practice. That's all that is. Like I was so rubbish for such a long time. I'm better, much better now. But yeah, I totally get what you mean with that freezing. You think, oh, this isn't working, and the students are hard, I'm not getting back what I want. Like it's so easy when they, um, when
I'm
that
engaged. Yeah.
gives you something. Yeah. But yeah, I would try that, okay, the ridiculous talk, just, and I would even start with maybe on next Monday, right, survey the class. Who ate a cat on the weekend? And then just put it up there. I think it's just be stupid. Um,
Yeah.
okay, I didn't eat a cat, but I did eat a hebby or whatever it was, like or I ate I don't know, something else ridiculous. Okay, and then I'd just go through and I'd put it up on the board, like make a little graph. And I'm just thinking this off the top of my head, but this is what I would do to try and counteract that, that I just went to the mall and I did nothing discussion.
Yeah.
And I would go in there and say, okay, on the weekend, who ate a cat? And then, see who and what they give you, and then ask your kid, did you eat a cat this weekend? Or was it a
Mm.
dog? Was it a bear, and see what he comes up with. And then, okay, class, um, survey shimasu. So I'm going to survey you, and, okay, Betty, um, and ask her, did she eat a cat? And then where did she eat it? Oh, yeah, was it at the mall or was it at the Yama? And then give her two options. I think when when things have gotten tricky, I find that the two options, the either or, and just they pick one, uh, it,
Mm.
it's it's much easier. It's more safe for them than having to think of something and try and
Yeah.
think of something that is correct in their minds and also funny if they're trying to be funny. But if they've given the two options, it just takes the pressure off them a bit.
Mm. I like the idea, I think you mentioned earlier, of sort of encouraging them to be ridiculous with
Mm,
it.
mm,
Come up with your
mm.
biggest thing,
Yeah, yeah.
you know.
Yeah. Um,
Um,
yeah, and just yeah, I think framing the ridiculous is really. just have a few up your sleeve. You know, did you eat a cat or did you eat a toothbrush? Did you, you know, and just, yeah, just see what sticks that time. Just a suggestion.
No, I appreciate it, as always.
Oh, no. Well, you must be getting to the end of the year too, are you? 2 more weeks? Is it 3?
We're week 7, yeah, so
Week 7.
3
Okay.
and a
Yeah.
half.
I think you're one behind here. We're week 8.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Bit usually on holidays before us.
Yeah. Oh.
Oh my God. I'm eating my dinner and my cats are both, it's fish. I'm having barramundi. So the
Oh,
cats are both,
okay.
I have 2 cats and they're both sitting here staring at me.
Yes,
It's a bit
feed me.
unnerving. I would show you, but I can't figure out how to make did my camera come on before?
It came on briefly and then it went to, it was like it was sort of mirrored and I was seeing your floor.
Okay.
You know?
Because I want it to come up on my screen so I can show what I'm showing you, but I'm not getting that with,
Yeah.
I don't
No, I saw you briefly, just your face, and then and then the floor, which is I think what's happened before. We've had this problem, haven't we?
Yeah. It feels very weird me seeing you, but not you seeing me, you know.
We'll get it sorted one day, Tessa. Well, look,
All
I'll
right.
let you finish your barramundi, and yeah, thanks for coming. And I hope that was helpful. Try it and see how it goes. I'd love to know next week if your weekend talk is, whether you can, yeah, garner any more discussion from them. And
I've
yeah.
got you out tomorrow. It's my last lesson, so
Oh,
maybe
okay.
maybe I'll do one because I only have 2 lessons in a week because they're 90 minutes. So
Okay. Yeah.
trying to maybe do the reverse. So normally I do what did you do on the weekend? So I flip it
Mm.
around and what will you do on the
Yeah.
weekend?
Yeah. Yeah. I like that. Just, then you've got both. Yeah. The past and, what's going to happen. So, or what you'd like to do. Yeah.
Mm.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. All right.
All right. Thank you. ありがとうございました。
頑張ってください。
はい。頑張りましょう。じ
はい。
ゃあ、おやす
じゃあまた
み。
おやすみ。はい。
また。
バイバイ。